Ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe to this channel right now. Everything that I have been telling you is taking place. You're going to see eventually Hillary Clinton opposite of Trump. I am telling you that's what's going to take place, and I have been telling you for years. I have segments. I might make a playlist of all the segments I've done for the past 4 years saying that Biden will be replaced and that eventually, somehow, some way, without a shadow of a doubt, Hillary Clinton will face Trump in 2024. Hit subscribe to this channel, Politico. And this is just 24 hours ago, 20 hours ago. Poll finds Biden damaged. Harris and Clinton best positioned. The Hill. Clinton, Harris holds slight lead over Trump. This is, of course, nonsense. Trump will win. Harris, the vice president, doesn't get close to Trump, okay? Clinton is the only chance they have. I have been telling you this entire 7-8 years has been about, in their minds, trying to get Clinton back to the Oval Office. New York Post polls reveal how Hillary Clinton would fare against Trump. Why do you think they're talking about the former Secretary of State? Because it's always been about that. This is a theatrical performance. This is basically the Truman Show, but in real life, American history version of the Truman Show. Okay, hit subscribe to this channel right now. It will be Hillary Clinton versus Trump. They lost Hollywood today. Biden lost Hollywood. It is only a matter of time before he drops out. Nobody else. Use process of elimination, people. They're not going to go with the California governor. Look at that state. They're not going to go with Whitmer. She has major scandals. Numerous. And she doesn't have the name recognition, nor does the California governor nationwide. They're not going to go with the former first lady. She doesn't want to be, run for president, okay? Just process of elimination. To the members, thank you. To my super chat, I can't do this without you. Thank you so much. And if you want to give a super thanks during the upload, thank you. But hit subscribe. It's happening. I told you this is a theatrical performance. There are no rules or regulations or guidelines. There's no structure within the Democratic Party. It's whatever they want at any moment in time. 2 weeks ago, they were saying that Biden was completely fit and fine. They are now dismantling and demolishing their political party real time. They're not going to win this way, but they're going to raise money. And there's other reasons why they want to catapult Hillary Clinton. If they catapulted Biden into the White House and the lights are on but nobody's home, imagine what Clinton and others within the political party think they can do with somebody who is far more eloquent, okay? Clinton can actually communicate. But let's continue. Hit subscribe to this channel. What did I tell you, ladies and gentlemen? What have I been? Not only did I predict pretty much every Supreme Court victory for Trump, and the guilty verdict will be overturned by the Supreme Court or lower courts, but a state cannot level an FEC crime at anyone without the FEC or Department of Justice involved. The FEC dropped the hush money case, and a state does not have the right to unilaterally level a federal statute. In this case, we have no clue what the federal statute is at anyone. If the federal government did not level the statute at the individual. But anyway, it's completely unconstitutional. We'll get to that. I told you he'd get a huge immunity victory. That's all I've been telling you. And I told you there would be a unanimous Supreme Court decision overturning the Colorado ban. The man, Trump, they can't stop him. And now they're completely imploding. And the curtain has been pulled, and the reality is that the entire planet sees Biden for who he is, and God bless him, hope he gets better. But we've been saying this since day one. Okay, maybe everything Trump was talking about years back, maybe there's something to it. But anyway, hit subscribe. Let's listen to this. It will be Hillary Clinton, Trump. I am the only person in the entire internet who has told you this for the past 4 years. And I'll make a playlist in a couple of days with all the segments I've done. It has to be like 6, 7 segments, 8 segments on telling you the past 4 years that it'll be Clinton, Trump 2024, and Trump will win.
President Biden will appear on the world stage with our NATO allies just minutes from now. We'll take you there when he does. And this is all as he faces new calls to step aside, now from a growing number of frustrated Democrats publicly warning that Biden is going to lose to Donald Trump come November. Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Kayleigh McEnany. Here's my co-host, Emily Compagno. Also joining us, Fox & Friends First co-host, Carly Shimkus, Fox Business anchor and co-host of The Bottom Line on Fox Business, Dagan McDowell, and Fox News contributor and host of The David Webb Show on SiriusXM Patriot, David Webb. Well, top Democrat lawmakers, allies, and now even George Clooney, a big fundraiser for President Biden, are pressuring Biden to get out of the race. Clooney just out with this bombshell guest essay in the New York Times. He writes, quote, "It's devastating to say it, but the Joe Biden I was with 3 weeks ago at the fundraiser was not the Joe Big Effing Deal Biden of 2010.
Do these Hollywood celebrities honestly expect the American people to think that they just realized that Biden is one fry short of a Happy Meal? That they just realized just the other day, just 3 weeks ago at the fundraiser, oh my goodness, it wasn't all throughout the past 4 years, even when he was campaigning 4 years ago, where he was making up words and slurring speech and meandering off. This was 4 years ago. They catapulted a man to the Oval Office when the entire world, including every Democrat, knew his mental and cognitive state. And now, after 4 years of telling people not to believe their own eyes, they have now said, oh, we're going to switch horses midstream. Just deal with it. This is democracy. These are many, not all, but many of these wonderful, morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrats. What they do, many, not all, is continually lie and tell you not to believe your own eyes.
It wasn't even the Joe Biden of 2020. He was the same man we all witnessed at the debate. We are not going to win in November with this president. On top of that, we won't win the House, and we're going to lose the Senate. This is George Clooney. He was at a fundraiser, hosting it with Biden just 3 weeks ago. And top Democrats go even further, warning that Biden will lose in a landslide.
The president just doesn't seem to he hasn't come to grips with it. He's not winning this race. If you just look at the data and talk to people around the country, political people around the country, it's more likely that he'll lose by a landslide than win narrowly this race.
We have to be honest with ourselves. It's not just the White House at stake. And all of these seats are going to be very, very closely contested. So the top of the ticket is essential.
Just like in 2020, when everyone said Joe Biden's the guy, let's get behind him, I think we need a different choice if we're going to be able to beat Donald Trump.
I still think I'll stand by my thing that he won't run. But if he does, we're just making a idiotic choice. We're losing. We're not winning.
Donald Trump is on track, I think, to win this election and maybe win it by a landslide and take with him the Senate and the House.
You know, Emily,
Trump is going to win no matter what. And what Democrats have done is dismantle their political party real time. They really should have simply kept up the charade where they tried desperately, and they were very successful at forcing the country through media to just accept that Biden couldn't communicate in a normal and effective manner. People actually, everyone was saying, look, every supporter of President Trump, myself included, was saying, look, can't you see what's going on? But of course, when media circles the wagons, when they say something in unison and they are loud and confident, they're very good at convincing a great many Americans that what they actually see and what they know is not true. So that's why media lies by omission. And just 2 weeks ago, they were saying that the edited videos of Biden were not accurate, and now they're saying we need a new nominee. Okay, look, this is a theatrical performance. There is no Democratic primary. Biden actually won his primary. I have been telling you for years that 2016, we're still living in 2016. Clinton lost, and that was an entire generation of Democrats that lost also. And 4 years ago, I have no clue why Clinton didn't replace Biden, but she will this year. And I told you, one way or another, it's going to be Hillary Clinton, Trump. I know people don't want to hear that. I don't know why. It's going to be quite amusing to see Trump win again. We'll have less wars. We'll have a better economy. Democrats will lose again, but she has a chance. Okay, so Trump was a great president in terms of in terms of the economy and foreign policy. Democrats don't care about that. They want political power. And they want political power in their own way. They want to control every single aspect of their quest for political for political dominance. So instead of just rolling with Biden, who actually won their primary, they're going to now pretend they just realized that he can't communicate, and they're not going to go with California's governor. They're not going to go with Michigan's governor. They're not going to go with the former first lady. Use process of elimination, ladies and gentlemen. Use process of elimination. I am the only person in the entire internet telling you this for 4 years.
I heard David Axelrod say yesterday that he can't find or think of Democrats who are willing to go into Biden's living room and communicate to them face to face some of the things that we're hearing on TV or mostly behind the scenes. You can't get closer, most likely, to the Biden living room than a New York Times op-ed that's probably on the coffee table with George Clooney, one of your big fundraisers, saying it's time to go, Joe.
That's right. I have to point this out at the risk of being obvious, but George Clooney is a mega donor. He's not only a mega donor, but he's also the top biller for fundraising. He is who this president has been trotting out since, by the way, before 2020 to say, hey, everyone, fall in line, donate as much as you can to my campaign. Notable about
67
to come to
Trump.
That's right. I have.
By the way, George Clooney originally was Hillary Clinton's top Hollywood fundraiser. All of these people, Biden doesn't have an actual base of support. His base of support, everyone around Joe Biden's presidency either worked for President Obama or Hillary Clinton in some capacity. Okay? Everybody.
I have to point this out at the risk of being obvious, but George Clooney is a mega donor. He's not only a mega donor, but he's also the top biller for fundraising. He is who this president has been trotting out since, by the way, before 2020 to say, hey, everyone, fall in line, donate as much as you can to my campaign. The thing that's notable about this, I want to make 2 points. Number one, that this is indeed a very, very public breaking of the guards, right? This is not a off-the-cuff answer to a reporter. This is not a text that was leaked. This is an op-ed that was published. If there's not a call to arms in this, then I don't know what is. And the second thing is that the question remains, who encouraged him to do this? Was it George Clooney himself? I wonder. I doubt it. So I think behind the scenes, there's or people that are far more persuasive, far more leading behind the scenes that said, hey, George, we need you now to do this. But the bottom line is, what now? As he says, he goes on to say, let's hear from Wes Moore, Kamala Harris, Gretchen Whitmer, Gavin Newsom, Andy Beshear, J.B. Pritzker, in that order. Let's agree, he says, that the candidates not attack one another, but in the short time we have, focus on what will make this country soar. Then we can go into the DNC and figure it out. And final point, if all of a sudden this is a catastrophe and now everyone is seeing the light, well, what about the president governing? Where was his calls for him to step out as we've all lost servicemen and women and Americans under Biden's watch?
You know, Carly, we hear off.
Okay, Pritzker and Andy Beshear don't have, and Whitmer and Newsom don't have national name recognition. Do you think they're going to go from Biden, who won a primary? Where were these people during the primary? Okay, Clinton obviously is not going to. The tactic for Hillary Clinton is simply this: pretend that she doesn't want to become president. Okay, they literally, with Bernie Sanders, cheated Bernie Sanders. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the chairwoman of the DNC, resigned and then joined Clinton's campaign. We have not moved beyond 2016. I am telling you, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Do you think they're going to... First of all, he was supposed to be the best president ever. He's so successful. Why do you think they forced him to do a debate for 2 hours without any makeup earlier than ever? This was all by design. Okay? It's all by design. He can't look. It's not just about, it's about he can't win, but they knew he couldn't win in 4 years ago when he became president. They knew the way the Democratic Party works is tactic, not strategy. They're good at tactical decisions. They're not good at strategies. They're good at tactics because they can use overwhelming media and public relations and Hollywood and social media algorithms to emphasize whatever they want emphasized. So they should have just simply kept up the charade and stayed with Biden. But now, see, they can't do this for too long. They can't dismantle their political party in real time for too long. They have to get, and they will. He's reading a script also. What do you expect Biden to do? Say, oh yeah, this was all a charade? In about a week, 2 weeks, less than that, he'll say, you know what? Hey man, I decided, man, the cornflakes, man. And you just saw the article today. Hillary Clinton defeats Trump. I'm telling you, it is going to be beyond surreal. And this is just proof of the type of political party and media that Trump is up against. Okay? They didn't create a Cold War for no reason. Okay? Anyway, let's continue.
From White House, from top officials, he's healthier than the rest of us. Younger aides can't keep up with him. Well, what we were just looking at a moment ago was images from a fundraiser 3 weeks ago.
Henry, I think it's going to be... Henry, thank you to my super chat. Thank you. I think it's going to be J.D. Vance. I think it's going to be J.D. Vance, ladies and gentlemen. I think that would be the best... That would be the best decision. Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. Thank you. Thank you. Greatly appreciate it, Henry. Thank you.
And George Clooney is basically saying to all the White House talking points we're hearing, that's not true. I saw him face to face. It's the same guy on the debate stage.
Yeah, he said in the op-ed, the debate essentially was not a one-off. I saw this during the fundraiser, one of the biggest fundraisers of this election cycle. And something that I was thinking about before this op-ed came out is that, remember when you were younger and you were too afraid to dive into the pool because the water was cold, so you walked in slowly and you were miserable every step of the way? That's kind of like how Democrats have been since the debate, where no one with real political sway has dove into the Joe Biden has got to go pool. So the whole party is miserable and doesn't really know where to go. Now we've talked a lot about how celebrity endorsements don't have really sway, but a celebrity opposition is like a totally new thing. And what will the fallout be of this? I mean, Hollywood isn't Capitol Hill. Sometimes there is very significant crossover. It could provide cover for other big donors, big celebrities to say, Joe Biden, you must step aside because of all the really well-written points that George Clooney gave in his op-ed. The other thing that I thought was very notable today was Nancy Pelosi. When she was asked, would you like Joe Biden to run for re-election? And her response essentially was, I want Joe Biden to do what he wants to do. That's like a very polite way of saying something when you think in your head about the big hook and you're yanking Joe Biden off the stage.
We have that.
He's got to go. Okay. Yeah, let's watch it.
We have that. That's exactly what it was. I mean, I was as stunned as you were, Carly. Here she is this morning on Morning Joe.
Does he have your support to be the head of the Democratic ticket?
As long as the president it's up to the president to decide if he is going to run.
He has said he has made the decision. He has said firmly this week he is going to run. Do you want him to run?
I want him to do whatever he decides to do. And that's the way it is. Whatever he decides, we go with. I think it's really important, and I would hope everyone would join in, to let him deal with this NATO conference. This is a very big deal. Over 30 heads of state are here. He is the host of it, and that means not just hosting, it means orchestrating the discussion and setting the agenda, and he's doing so magnificently. And I've said to everyone, let's just hold off. Whatever you're thinking, either tell somebody privately, but you don't have to put that out on the table until we see how we go this week.
Huge deal. Jake Sherman said it was like a bomb going off on Capitol Hill. She says, I will wait for Biden to decide. One problem, Biden has decided.
So this is a script, okay? They're in between a rock and a hard place right now. They can't simply pretend. They can't simply say the entire thing was a charade, okay? The man won his primary. They don't have a primary. Okay, the man actually won a primary, but they don't have one. With Bernie Sanders, they cheated Bernie Sanders, and now they're doing the same thing to Biden. There are no rules and regulations or guidelines within the DNC rulebook that allows this to take place. Where's the DNC rulebook that says if you win your primary as an incumbent president, you should then be forced out by everyone around you? Okay, this is what they do. They find some kind of loophole, or they just disregard any semblance of rules or regulations or guidelines or laws, and then they just do their own thing. They just decide, at a moment's notice that the reality they've been telling you for 4 years is no longer reality. So now you must turn on a dime, and just the new reality is 2 weeks ago the reality was you're a terrible right-wing conservative Republican who thinks conspiratorial thoughts because you have the audacity to say that Biden can't communicate in a normal manner. Now, within 2 weeks, they said, you better force Biden out or else we'll lose in a landslide, the House, the Senate, and to Trump. And generations will suffer. So it's like you're dealing with a political party that has multiple personalities all the time. These are the same people, by the way, that told you Trump was a Kremlin operative, that he was a menace to democracy, as they oust their incumbent president. It's unbelievable.
What's Joe going to do? Is he going to stay in the race? Is he going to drop out? What's he going to do? Well, here's my answer. I am running and going to win again.
Are you confident you can serve another 4 years?
I'm positive.
I don't think anybody's more qualified to be president or win this race than me.
The bottom line here is that we're not going anywhere. I am not going anywhere.
David, here's what's remarkable.
He also told you inflation was 8 to 9% when he took office. He also told you that he didn't know anything about Hunter's business deals. Okay? He also told you that Trump said, terrible things that he never said. He cited an Atlantic article that had no evidence other than sources that had no evidence. Okay? Gossip and hearsay. So, he told you a lot. I counted 40 to 50 lies during the debate. And then, of course, people cite Trump lied 30 times and Biden only 9. It's like, well, that's CNN doing the tabulation. But anyway, the point, ladies and gentlemen, is that what do you think he's going to say? What do you think Biden's going to say? You think Biden's going to say, oh, just joking. I didn't really want to be president, man. Obviously, he's going to say, I can do this, man. Well, I mean, there has to be in any plot or any storyline, this type of momentum and then a conclusion. And the conclusion is eventually a convention where they say, oh gosh, who are we going to pick? You already had a primary. So it's Hillary Clinton. This is going to be the Democratic Party and media and everyone saying, look, you made a mistake, America, in 2016. Now is your chance to rectify the mistake. Okay? We catapulted somebody who just simply can't communicate and who literally was not fit for office. But you know what? We're not going to do that anymore. We're going to give you the choice you had in 2016 where Clinton barely lost. Okay, it wasn't, it wasn't Pritzker or Whitmer or Newsom who barely lost in 2016. It was George Clooney's, the person that he raised the most money for, Hillary Clinton. Let's continue.
She told CBS she had been misrepresented by the media.
Right.
Okay. So she puts out a new statement. I'll just read you the first sentence. Speaker Pelosi fully supports whatever Biden decides to do. He's decided. That's exactly what you said on MSNBC this morning.
Boy, passive aggressive much? That's pretty much what it is. By the way, can I go back to Clooney for a second?
Sure.
It's his wife, Amal. That is the one to watch here. This is a woman who, with the United Nations Tribunal, the International Criminal Courts, all knows him. The name is famous. But when you look what's behind him with his wife and you see who's behind her, you see the agenda that
I don't have a lot of interaction with him. This is a pretty senior cabinet secretary. And this was 2 years ago.
The cabinet doesn't have interaction and they were questioning his mental acuity 2 years ago? Soldiers died over those 2 years.
Yes, and I find what the media is doing now, talking about this, and George Clooney coming out and saying, oh, you should get out of the way, to be just the depths of disgusting. It is vile.
I agree with Dagan McDowell 100%. This is completely embarrassing for the country. This is the most embarrassing, really nefarious, sinister behavior from media and the Democratic Party. You catapulted a man to the presidency where the entire planet, every Trump supporter was saying, hey, look what's happening. Then you said, oh my God, you're conspiratorial. It's Trump who has the problem drinking water and walking down, a ramp. And then after 4 years of saying, don't believe your lying eyes. I mean, the audacity, the chutzpah, the arrogance, the hubris, it's unbelievable. It is only in America in this day and age could this take place. And this is not only the dismantling of the Democratic Party, this is the past, I would say, 15, 16 years of Democratic Party politics. You're seeing, they picked up the ashes of the Republican Party in a way, or they when Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld completely destroyed the Republican Party, Democrats said, we now have the keys to the future of the United States of America forever. Then they cheated Bernie Sanders. Then people realized, hey, 8 years of President Obama was not that much different than 8 years of Bush. Then we got Trump. We had a great economy, great foreign policy, but he didn't kowtow to the system. He didn't worship media and intel agencies and all of that. So the machine said, oh my God, no, terrible, Trump, democracy. And now they're ousting a president that they said is the only person who will protect us They will protect democracy. And now they're ousting him because they're losing in the polls. After telling the world that anyone who said that he was one fry short of a Happy Meal or the lights are on but nobody is home is lying to you. It's unbelievable.
That they would come out because they're doing it in their own self-interest. The media and these celebrities, they're the grossest cocktail of arrogance and insecurity and ego, where they don't want to be the last one standing up with Joe Biden. George Clooney was at that fundraiser where President Obama had to walk Joe Biden off the stage. He didn't say anything then. He didn't stand up and say it's not misinformation, which is what was coming out of Karine Jean-Pierre's mouth. He didn't say anything when I was sitting on this very sofa a year ago saying that Joe Biden is cognitively addled, that he is suffering what all of our family members do. He didn't say anything when I sat here and said Joe Biden will not be a self-caring adult at the end of another term. He said nothing. They only care about their own egos, and they don't care. They usually care about people in power paying attention to them. Now their egos have superseded that. They are stuck with Joe Biden, period. They did not stand up for the American people and the Democrat voter. Joe Biden's not going anywhere. You're stuck with him.
Yeah, and just to be clear,
I agree with everything that she said, but he's definitely dropping out in the next 2 weeks. Democrats live and breathe public relations. They're not going to tear down their political party for too long. They're not going to admit for too long that they have deceived the country simply for political gain. This is not, pretty soon they'll say, look, let's look at the laptop. It's obviously bribery and graft. They have this, and he knows this. He understands. He understands he has a political, media, government machine backing him. And when they don't back him anymore, he's not going to want that. Okay? Because he went after Trump on complete nonsense. But the laptop is not complete nonsense. It's not like the FEC. It's not like he doesn't just have a campaign finance issue, which Trump actually didn't have at all. The FEC dropped the hush money case. And FEC chairman stated there was no campaign fundraising issue or finance issue paying Stormy. Trump could have paid Stormy with his own wallet. With dollar bills, it wouldn't have mattered. Well, the point, ladies and gentlemen, is that right now, the script calls for Biden to say, hey, man, I'm still here, man. That is not going to work. And he understands this. Everyone knows that Hillary Clinton, by the way, it's going to be Trump, Clinton, and I am the only person in all of the internet, the entire internet, to tell you, okay, I give you good analysis, which is why the channel is growing. But anyway, let's continue.
Democrats were all in for Joe Biden until that debate. So we start with this, a Fox News alert. 7 House Democrats are calling on President Biden to end his reelection bid. And now Michael Bennet has become the first Democrat from the Senate to publicly echo that sentiment.
Donald Trump is on track, I think, to win this election and maybe win it by a landslide and take with him the Senate and the House. And so for me, this isn't a question about polling. It's not a question about politics.
This after House Democrats met behind closed doors yesterday discussing Biden's reelection bid, and it seems they're still divided.
Are you all on the same page?
No. What do you mean you're not on the same page? They're not even in the same book.
We're riding with Biden.
Was there conversation about Vice President Kamala?
We are riding with Biden.
Was there conversation about Vice President Kamala Harris in there?
We are riding with Biden.
I think they're riding with Biden. This is Axios reporting that just hours before yesterday's meeting with the House, a smaller group of swing district Democrats held what sources described as a despondent gathering with, quote, actual tears. Well, meanwhile, the New York Times calling out Democrats saying they panic about President Biden, but not doing so would nudge him aside.
So they have two straight editorials telling him to step aside. They say, one report says 1/3 of the Democratic caucus wants him gone. 1/3 wants him to stay. And 1/3 to resign that he is the nominee, but thinks he is going to lose. Right. So this happened behind closed doors.
So that's not really the way Democrats work. The 1/3 who don't want him to resign yet simply haven't been told to enter the stage for their scene. So the script doesn't call for them yet to simply say, oh, yeah, well, I agree with George Clooney and everyone else. Okay, and Biden might, go a lot sooner than having the entire political party say, get the heck out. So again, this is all theatrical performance. Okay, this is all theatrical performance. This is about Hillary Clinton. This is about Hillary Clinton regaining political power within the Democratic Party. The President Obama and the Clintons are the most influential, powerful people. They can raise the most money. Democrats, if Whitmer could raise the most money, she would then be billed as the first female president. It's about who raises the most money. Democrats revolve around money and public relations and media support. They govern through media, public relations, and fundraising. That's from Tammany Hall to today. And influence within government and enriching themselves through government. So nobody matches the Clintons in terms of fundraising. Nobody. Okay, that's why they were able to help create a new Cold War with a compilation full of lies and deceit called the Steele dossier, and they were actually fined by the FEC. It wasn't Trump. Listen, they didn't create a new Cold War simply to see Biden lose in a landslide. Okay, this is all about Clinton-Trump 2024. And there's probably a personal aspect or component to this. Clinton feels that Trump had no business, or Democrat, whatever. She lost to Trump, who was not a lifelong politician. She'll lose again, but this time is different. She'll write other books. She'll be, they'll turn her into this hero. You tried to save us from a great economy and a great foreign policy with Trump. You lost again, but still, you know what? It doesn't matter. You tried. And and by the way, if Trump tries to go after Clinton, they'll say, you're going after your direct political rivals. So anyway, this entire 8 years has been a gigantic charade that I've been trying to tell everyone. Once they cheated Bernie Sanders, they crossed the Rubicon into a very, sinister place.
I have news for you. He's not leaving. Nope. And Hakeem Jeffrey says, I'm firmly in
100% he's leaving. This is all theatrical performance.
the corner. That's a big news. The Congressional Black Caucus says, I'm firmly in the corner. That's big news.
Now Jerry Nadler.
Chuck Schumer.
He's flipped back.
Flips back.
AOC, the Congressional Black Caucus. Here's the thing. According to the New York Times, behind the scenes, Democrats, a lot of Democrats, and Brian beautifully breaking it down, a lot of Democrats want Joe Biden to really blow it this week. They're hoping that he blows it at that press conference tomorrow. They hope he has a bad moment in front of the world stage at this NATO thing. Nancy Pelosi was just on another show, and she was asked whether or not he should drop out. And her answer should not necessarily make him feel good, him being Joe Biden. Watch.
It's up to the president to decide if he is going to run. We're all encouraging him to make.
Again, what do you expect Pelosi to say? He should drop out tomorrow. Well, of course, it's been 4 years. They've been telling us everything's fine. So like I said, this is like a charade. It's a theatrical performance. It's performance art. Okay? They're not going to completely destroy their political party every single day until the nomination. Okay? The toothpaste is already out of, the tube. You can't put it back in. They've crossed the Rubicon. It's too late to take back all the things that they've said and done. When media, an extension of the Democratic Party, turns on Democrats, it's by design, it's for a political purpose. And that's it. They govern through media.
Make that decision because time is running short.
You want him to run.
I want him to do whatever he decides to do. And that's the way it is. Whatever he decides, we go with. Let's just hold off. Whatever you're thinking, either tell somebody privately, but you don't have to put that out on the table until we see how we go this week.
And see, that is very telling right there at the end. Let's see how it goes this week.
Well, Nancy, he already did decide. He already has said, I'm not going anywhere. And she said, Jill Biden, she supports him. She'll stick by his side no matter what.
Well, there's no one there. I'll tell you what I think it means. There is no one that is more precise with their words than Nancy Pelosi. She knows exactly what she's saying.
Even when she slurs them.
That's exactly.
She's a great negotiator.
The translation is, we have encouraged him behind the scenes to step aside. But whatever he wants to do, if he's staying in it, then we're with him. And that is what's been happening behind the scenes. This is cover for the Democrats that have been causing some stuff. No, it's really not, but it's to provide cover for the Democrats that have been openly saying we want him to go.
Well,
but at the end of the day, as a party, we have to back him.
So
And of course, what happens is the political party has spoken. They want him out. And it's just a matter of a week, 2 weeks. Again, he remains president. Kamala Harris remains president. They'll lose. They would lose in a landslide with Biden. They will lose. It might not be a landslide against Clinton. It might be close. Okay, but at least they have a chance. And Trump will win again. There's no doubt Trump wins again. With Clinton, they raised just enough money. Maybe they can keep the Senate. Maybe they can keep their seats in the House. But they'll raise enough money to be competitive in Congress with Clinton. And that's, I think, the most important issue for Democrats and why they want Clinton, in addition to the fact that this whole thing has been about getting Clinton back.
Welcome back. The Biden administration is now pushing back on reports that a Parkinson's specialist visited the White House at least 8 times during the middle of 2023, claiming that the doctor was not there to visit the president, also insisting that Biden has not seen a neurologist outside of his annual physicals. Biden's physician, meanwhile, Dr. Kevin O'Connor, claimed in.
Oh, and by the way, they'll just print, if they have to, eat in each state, oh, well, you know what? We got to put Hillary Clinton's name, not Biden. There's no concept of rules or regulations or guidelines. Democrats will do anything possible. Or will do anything that they need to do to switch horses midstream. I mean, one would think that it's impossible, but and I agree with that. Ordinarily, you say, well, wait, that's impossible, but no, it's not.
A new memo that
outbursts now are happening, which again, he was going to be the most gentle and gentile president ever. The fact that he's having these labile emotional swings, outbursts to his staff really speaks. A form of dementia has that. You can't control your emotions, or if you can't get the words out you want to, become very frustrated. Let's just be honest. The guy's not fit for office. He never was fit for office, and he surely would not be fit for another 5 years. I don't believe Joe Biden's running the show. I believe he's a puppet for a progressive left committee.
And joining me now, the man himself, Congressman, thank you so much for your honesty to our viewers. I know they appreciate it very much. That was all the way back in July of 2023 when you, with your incredible experience as a doctor, pointed this out. Tell us more and assess what we're seeing and having this conversation today post that debate.
Well, Maria, it's just the coming to fruition.
This is creativity.
All seen. The Democratic mantra has been, don't believe what you see, believe what we tell you. And the fact that if you've had a physician who specializes in Parkinson's come to the White House 8 times, and then if you go back and you look at Dr. O'Connor's physical examination of him, and then you'd only know this as a physician, if you go in and you look at the neurologic exam, he's very pointed in pointing out specific things that are not Parkinson's. I think this is I haven't physically examined him, but Parkinson's is generally a clinical diagnosis where you have something called bradykinesia, slow movement. You're not able to move fluidly, and so many of these other things. But here is the kicker. Here's the kicker. If, God forbid, this is Parkinson's, I don't wish this on anybody.
And the congressman said it correctly. God forbid. See, here's the thing. Every Trump supporter was looking at Biden and saying, this is really sad. I feel for this man. And I'm upset that the Democratic Party didn't care for 4 years. I mean, they've tossed him aside and disregarded him. They utilized him for 4 years. He wasn't up to the task physically, but they didn't care as long as they had somebody there and they could, I mean, they keep saying he was so successful. Then why do you want to change? Why do you want him to drop out if he was so successful? Okay, why is it that Trump defeats him in every poll, every swing state poll, especially on the economy? He wasn't successful. All he did was pass legislation that Democrats believed was, landmark, historic. But like the Inflation Reduction Act, why did he pass it? Because inflation went to 8 to 9% under his watch. That's why. That's why he passed the legislation. Okay. The CHIPS Act, you could say also, you look at what's taking place with Taiwan. These things didn't happen with Trump. Here and there you could say, well, yes, they did. It's like, well, we've always had problems in certain regions of the world, but not to the extent that we see now. And with Trump, we had a foreign policy where there was a specific vision. Okay, Trump focused on peace deals. He focused on economic repercussions before military repercussions. And we had record low poverty and a record high in household median income with Trump. He was a great president. But Democrats, their vision of the world is whatever they want at that moment. Whatever they want at that moment, everyone must agree with and accept. Their reality changes all the time. They told people it was fair and neutral, then Bernie Sanders was cheated, and then the DNC chairwoman was forced to resign. Then they lost. They're going to oust Biden. They're going to lose again. But they don't care. They want things exactly their way at all times. It's tactics, not strategy.
Parkinson's has about an 80% chance of developing into dementia up to that point. So are we going to elect somebody who does not have a clean bill of health, who is afraid to take a cognitive test, who perhaps has a disorder that has about an 80% chance of having dementia with it if it's not already present? What is this fleece on America that the Democrats are bringing upon us? It's sad, it's tragic, and it's a matter of national security.
Well, I mean, how does he operate with one of these disorders? We're told that he's at his best between 10 and 8 p.m.
By the way, imagine if Trump communicated in the same manner. I mean, they would be vicious. They'd be venomous. They would be absolutely vicious and venomous. And, I mean, nefarious. I mean, every comedian that's just barely now touching the topic would have gone after Trump in the nastiest way for the past 4 years.
I mean, from a practical matter, how does he handle the issues that come every day for a commander-in-chief if, in fact, it is one of these disorders that you're referring to?
Well, I think, as we've said for a long time, I don't know that he's handling these things. These may be a committee of unelected bureaucrats. It may be Schumer, Pelosi, and that's why they want to cling to this power so hard. I don't think he's making all the decisions. I mean, come on, look at him. He can't be. He's fine if he's reading from a teleprompter. I think truly, Maria, this is a national tragedy. The American people are being lied to, just like the cocaine bag that they found in the White House. We're being lied to by the White House.
Even his own dog, okay? I have two wonderful boxers, by the way, okay? They're awesome, intelligent, great guard dogs. They're so loving. But anyway, the point is, even his own pet, his own dog, I think the reports are that bit, 20 plus Secret Service? And he can't even train his own animals, or it's like his own pets. And then you have the substances found in the White House. Then you have inflation and interest rates through the roof, and all of these problems. I mean, the southern geographic region of our country. Oh my God, like humanitarian crisis going on there. Democrats don't care. They keep saying he's a good man, he's a wonderful man. It's like, well, when we can go on forever. It's not you're not a good human being if you've spent 4 years lying to the American people about your ability to lead.
And this is not what democracy is all about.
And what would you say about the path of some of these disorders? I mean, is this something that can be stable for a long time, and even though, or does it progress worse?
Well, everybody's different with Parkinson's. Again, I'm not a Parkinson's physician, but I take care of older individuals. On his medicine list, there was not something called levodopa or some of the other obvious lies to the American people.
Oh, yeah. No, there's been a cover-up underway, and this is
Restaurant Store.
One of the greatest cover-ups of all time. I mean, you look at some of the comments Kamala Harris has made, how
this is one of the greatest cover-ups of all time, and it wasn't even a cover-up. It was in plain sight. That's the way Democrats work. They say, no, we're not cheating Bernie Sanders. Oh, chairwoman resigns. No, but Biden's fine. Oh, we want a new president, or we want a new nominee. The way media and Democrats work is they will tell you what you see, what you know to be true is not true, and then they'll disparage you if you say otherwise.
Great Joe Biden is over the last year. I mean, the cover-up has been deep and far. But I want to get your take on the First Lady. Washington Post readers sending letters to First Lady Jill Biden, urging her to tell President Biden to withdraw from this race, to make room for a younger generation, Congressman. You've also taken issue with Jill, the First Lady, after the debate. You wrote this on X. It's called practicing medicine without a license. Dr. Jill Biden, disgraceful that you would allow your husband to put our nation in peril. You have a doctorate. You are not a doctor. If you were, you would be committing malpractice. Tell us more.
Yeah. I think that's very succinct. I like the guy who wrote that. I think it's very true. I think she's clinging to power. She loves being the first lady. I mean, just think about your wife and your husband, how much you're supposed to care for that other person that you've been bonded to for life. And she's allowing him and actually pushing him to do all these things. I think it's horrible. I just think it's horrible.
At least 7 Democrats are now publicly calling for Biden to resign. After holding those conference meetings yesterday, there are others, 3 others, that say Biden cannot beat Trump. Axios is reporting that the movement to remove Biden, though, is losing steam now, saying that the House's meeting left some swing district Democrats with actual tears. Another report saying that they felt like the meeting was a funeral. New York Congressman and House Judiciary Committee ranking member Jerry Nadler now flipped. He initially said he called for the president to drop out of the race, saying he can't win. Now, I guess he got a call from the White House or somebody because he's completely flipped.
They don't change their mind after publicly disparaging their alleged nominee. This is all by design. Look, they're caught between a rock and a hard place. What are they going to do? They can't simply admit that they've been deceiving the entire country for 4 years. So they're going to go back and forth. Biden, if you live by public relations and media, you will then be ousted by these same forces. This is not rocket science. So this is just part of a script.
He's actually saying, no, I'm with Biden. Here's Nadler yesterday. Watch.
Yeah.
Do you have concerns about him being on the top of the ticket?
Whether I'm concerned or not is beside the point. He's going to be our nominee, and we all have to support him.
That was a pretty long pause when you were asked about concerns. What are your concerns about President Biden?
My concern really is that he could have another bad debate performance, but that's true of any candidate.
Just to be clear, sir, you do not want the president to drop out?
I do not.
Now he does not, Congressman.
You saw... this whole thing, they're not really actors, although they are. So the script that they're using is just terribly written, but the end game is Hillary Clinton, Trump. It's always been that, and I've been the only person telling you that forever.
What do you think's going on there? Can you give us a little flavor of what's happening in D.C. right now?
I think it's dreaded resignation. They know that Joe isn't going to go anywhere. They know this is their fate, what they have to accept, whether
100% though, he will eventually, within the next week or two, 100% he'll leave.
Joe is going to be there or not. And so they're all, just as Schumer said, I'm with Joe. Good Lord, talk about somebody that has a hard time with the truth. They're going to try to persist with him, prop him up. And then God forbid, guys, Kamala Harris becomes the president of the United States. This can't allow. And
Biden can remain president. Harris can remain vice president. He just withdraws from the nomination. They have a farce and a theatrical performance of a convention. The delegates go towards where the money comes from, and Clinton, and then Clooney fundraises for Clinton. He ain't going to fundraise for, Whitmer or Pritzker or whatever. Pritzker's wealthy anyway, but the point is, fundraising, you don't have to be wealthy yourself. You have to know a lot of people who have money. The Clintons know a lot of people who have money. It'll be Hillary, Trump. Hillary will lose. Clinton will lose. But you know what? She could make it close. She comes with a built-in base of voters. Let's continue.
Joe goes back and says, look what I've done in 3.5 years. Look at what you have done. We're not even talking about the issues anymore. Afghanistan, inflation, the woke military. God forbid our 16 million people coming in on the southern border. Let's look at the physical state of the president and then the future state. But then look actually at the disaster he's been for the last 3.5 years.
I mean, one could make the argument that even if President Biden makes it and stays in place until the election, at some point in the next 4 years, a vote for Biden means a vote for Kamala Harris. Is that right?
Absolutely. And I think that's much sooner than people would realize.
So we have to, it's going to be Madam Secretary versus Trump. Let's go ahead real quick. Just because, backed by popular demand, every socialist and communist will gleefully vote for Hillary Clinton, which will yet again bolster and validate my thoughts on the left and American politics. If you vote for Trump, you're doing so because you want a great economy and a great foreign policy. If you vote Democrat, with everything they're doing to Biden, what they did to Bernie Sanders, the fact that Hillary Clinton will be opposite Trump, you're doing so because of groupthink and public relations and media. It'll be Hillary Clinton, Trump. Hillary could possibly become president. I give her 10%, 5% chance. But they get closer with Hillary Clinton. But let's listen to Clinton really quickly.
Madam Secretary, it's good to have you on the show. I want to ask you about an issue we've been talking.
By the way, can't transfer top secret intel onto servers. It's infinitely worse than anything they've accused Trump of doing, which he didn't do. Trump was a president with the power to declassify. He did not have servers connected in an illegal manner, and he did not, Trump, illegally transfer top secret intel onto servers. It's not even possible from a cybersecurity perspective. It was the greatest cybersecurity debacle and nightmare of all time. Anyway, apparently nobody cares. But the point is, you have Biden and Clinton who actually did commit crimes. Then they get Trump on hush money, which is wasn't even a crime. Anyway, it'll be Trump, Hillary, 2024. I've been telling you for years.
Talking about here on the show for the past 2 days, given an article written by David Ignatius and some comments made by Mitt Romney when he announced that he would not be running again. From your experience, which you've had many viewpoints of effective presidency and building teams. As a first lady, as a member of the Senate, as a secretary of state, as a presidential candidate, putting together a team and an administration doesn't come easily and isn't magic. It's definitely not an argument that President Biden has had an effective presidency, that he has gotten things done, whether or not people agree with his policies. Do you think the questions about his age are legitimate?
Well, the question's legitimate, but the conclusion that people draw is, I think, off base. Look, I am supporting President Biden and Vice President Harris.
This is, of course, an impossibility.
Because of what they've gotten accomplished. I'm kind of old-fashioned that way. I like to see people, as I said, tackle big problems, bring people together, and try to forge solutions. And I don't know about anybody else, but I'm kind of happy that we're fixing our bridges and our roads and the rest of our infrastructure. And I'm thrilled that we are going to compete with China on advanced manufacturing, and that we're going to make the transition to clean energy as quickly as we possibly can.
We can go on forever. You're going to be hearing more in the next couple of months. It will be Hillary Trump 2024. You saw she's eloquent there. I mean, she communicates infinitely better than Biden. Imagine what media and Democrats can do if they yell at the top of their lungs. If they catapulted Biden to the presidency, imagine what they could do with somebody who was eloquent like Hillary Clinton. Granted, numerous crimes with top secret intel on servers. Infinitely worse than anything they accuse Trump of doing, which, of course, none of really what they accuse Trump of doing is an actual crime. Having servers with top secret intel actually is a crime. But again, Democrats, there's obviously a double standard, not just with criminality, but with a whole lot of other things. Every socialist, every communist, every progressive will vote for Hillary Clinton. If they don't, they'll lose their friends and their family. They'll be excommunicated, shunned. They will have committed blasphemy and heresy, and that's the way Democrats work. It's a gigantic groupthink, almost like a cult. Anyway, hit subscribe. People, tell your friends. I have been telling you exactly what has been going on. I've literally predicted exactly what's been going on. And again, you know what? I've made mistakes. I'm not Nostradamus, but I made mistakes, but I've been pretty darn good in terms of giving analysis. And I will be the only person in the entire internet who has told you that it's going to be Hillary Clinton versus Trump. Trump will win, but it'll be close, I think. It could be very close. It could be. Hit subscribe, everybody. Thanks. I'll see you tomorrow, everyone. God bless you all. To my viewers in the Philippines, in Australia, in Canada, New Zealand, the UK, Nepal, Nigeria, Korea, everywhere around the world. God bless you. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.